back of the car. We did stop off to play golf. We did stop off to pick up his daughter. We did stop off to go to Venice Beach, where we were mobbed and the jury was out. Half the people went to get photographs with him and half the people shouted murder. It was a bizarre day.
Yeah, tell me about trying to get into the restaurant. I'm just curious. Why wouldn't they let you in? Was it because you had a camera crew with you, or was it because he was O.J. Simpson?
This is Los Angeles. I've never seen anybody being shy of a camera crew. So I would call the restaurants and say, could I come to the restaurant? And they would say, fine, come in. And I'd say, do you have a problem with O.J. Simpson? He is under
What would they say after you asked that question?
You know, I would say 9 out of 10 were a little hesitant because they don't want to lose customers. On the other hand, you could see that they were slightly confused because the man is innocent. And there is that dichotomy in everybody's mind, and I think that's what everyone's fascination is with him.
Well, he was acquitted. He was acquitted in the criminal trial. All right, well, tell me about the stunt that he pulled after the interview was over. I know that you were shooting a promo. Set the scene for us, and then we'll roll the clip.
Well, it's too complicated to tell you what we were actually doing. I just simply wanted him to open a door, and then we would film his face straight, and then we had our logo with O.J. Simpson. And it was the end of 12 hours. I mean, to be fair, this man was exhausted, which is the nature of the program, too. When people get tired, they stop doing their shtick, that's my pleasure. Anyway, he did open the door and then did this particular thing. I wouldn't say the word shocked. I do this for a living. I would say that this is this man's attempt trying to be funny, and okay, that's what his sense of humor tells him to do.
All right, let's take a look and see what this is all about.
After we finished filming, O.J. said to me that he had a surprise for me, and I genuinely was surprised. I think it was his idea of a joke, and this is it.
Okay, after he did that, did you say, gee, what was that all about?
No, I said, put the banana away. You know, I mean, this is what I do for a living. I just said that really is not appropriate to what we're shooting. So just put the banana down.
Did he explain his actions, though, to you? Did he say what he was doing and why?
He does a lot of things that I don't really understand, but it isn't my job to judge, you understand? I'm the interviewer. You know, I'm not there to, like, put a stamp on his head, guilty or innocent. I really do show 12 hours so that you can create your own impression. Right. I really am more objective than that.
At the same time, didn't he explain to you, Ruby, that he was sort of reenacting a scene from Psycho or something like that?
Oh, yeah, his agent said he likes to act out scenes from films. You're going to show this over and over again.
Well, it's short. I guess people want to take a look at what he was doing. He had some interesting things to say about Fred Goldman as well. Let's take a look at that conversation, excuse me, and then we can chat about it in a moment.
All right. Whether you did it or didn't do it, but if one of your kids was murdered, wouldn't you want everything you could get?
I would want the person in jail, that's for sure. Yeah. I would want to make their life...
If you couldn't have that, would you say, I'll take the money?
Well, I may be a little different than some people.
What would you want?
I told you before, to me, there is aware that, you know, everybody's capable of committing murder.
Everybody's capable.
If something happened in your family. Goldman, I felt a long time ago that with Goldman, he don't care at this point. If there was a chance tomorrow to catch the real murderers, he don't want to catch them because then, you know, then all of a sudden his income is cut off. He ain't gonna be making any money. All of a sudden,
you really think he doesn't want to find the real murderer?
At this point, no.
You really believe that?
At this point, I think he is satisfied with the way things are at this point.
Ruby, he clearly still resents Fred Goldman, doesn't he?
Of course he does.
Did he have anything else to say about him in terms of his motivation or
well,
his
he
interest?
Clearly, in what Goldman wants?
Yes.
I think he thinks he's publicity hunting, which is kind of odd from a person that has spent their entire existence publicity hunting. But, you know, the point is, if someone killed your wife and you were accused, whatever percentage you want to believe this in your mind, how would you behave? I can't explain his behavior, but it's clearly a man who feels that someone has murdered his wife. I believe that he believes that.
He obviously said that we just heard him say that Fred Goldman wasn't interested in finding the real murderer. Did he give you any update or status report on his efforts to find the real murderers after the criminal trial? He announced that he had set up a hotline. He had his own team of investigators working on this. Did he tell you if any progress had been made on that front?
I asked him, I said, you know, come on, you have a television crew here, let's get on the phone, let's find out, you know, let's pick up some of these leads. I offered, you know, to assist him, but he really kept quiet about that. He said he was working on it. It's a very complicated man. It's not easy to do in a quick soundbite. It's a man who clearly looks like he was once a great, you know, the god of football, but it looks a little haunted. Now, that may be because he believes someone has killed his wife.
Now, Ruby, he also told you how he felt about handling this vis-a-vis his children as you watch Sydney play a game of basketball. Let's take a look at that.
Where's your daughter?
She's number 30.
And do the other kids ever ask her about, you know, what you...
No, nobody would do that.
They don't?
These kids, you'll see, they're all the girls wanted me to coach the team.
Did your daughter ever ask you about it?
No.
She never asked you about the murders?
Never at all.
She never mentioned it?
Never mentioned it once. Not even my son. No.
Never mentioned it?
Never once.
Don't you want to sit down and talk to them and say, listen, you may hear things about Daddy?
Not at all.
You never want to talk about it?
No.
I think you better.
No. Well, you know, I go through, I know you want to be a shrink, but I've gone through the best shrinks and child psychologists, and they don't advise that.
They said never mention it?
No. Let them bring it up.
Only in Beverly Hills.
When they talk about it,
yeah,
well, possibly let the kids do it. Don't force feed them any of this stuff.
Right.
So, Ruby, he's never discussed any of this.
That's what he says.
With his children. Surprised?
You know, nothing surprises me about him because, you know, a few minutes later he may say slightly the opposite. So it's a man who clearly lives in the moment, and in that moment he totally believes his reality, but then don't we all?
There was a moment that was quite interesting. I guess you all were in Venice Beach, and someone approached Mr. Simpson. Let's take a look at that.
I've never personally shaken hands with a murderer. It's good to see you.
Thank you. Very nice meeting you.
Doesn't that hurt?
Huh?
Doesn't that hurt your feelings?
No.
That was so strange. The woman said to him after she shook hands.
I've never shaken the hands of a murderer, yeah.
And he said, thank you, nice to meet you.
I know.
Did he not hear her?
You know, all I can say is you couldn't get, this guy was trained for this, and also I think he was born with something too that didn't help. He's used to having large mountains of flesh on him and taking a lot of pain. So I don't see a lot penetrating him, and I'm not making a judgment about whether he did it or didn't do it. I'm just saying this is clearly the type of guy that does not have insight or doesn't feel the anguish that a lot of us would feel with an insult like that coming, which sometimes in America is called bravery. I don't know. I really don't know. It's a very complicated situation.
So it's probably difficult for you to describe in one sentence or two just how you felt about him after those 12 hours.
I feel that there's somebody really haunted inside of him, but whatever reason that is, it's not for me to pass that judgment. I just think he has his exterior and his interior are in two different realities, and I'm not saying what those could be, and I don't think he knows either.
All right, Ruby Wax. Ruby, thanks so much for coming by and sharing the interview with us. It looks fascinating.
Thank you. Thanks very much.
And we'll be back in a moment, right after these messages.